Welcome in YouTube, it's Juicy here with a special video, an Envoy exclusive. We got ourselves Absolute A-Force to reckon with. So A-Force is coming back and they are coming back with a new tag, Absolute A-Force, which is distinguished from A-Force. So I'm going to kind of pass this through pretty quickly. So some things to note, this team is designed to um, really knock down those APOC, those mythic characters, right? This is the kind of goal of this team is to knock out a lot of the mythics, and you'll see why. We're starting with Kaori, right? This is the person from What If. Um, Sounds pretty cool. This is going over this. Like, Kaori is a controller from like Absolute A Force. So some of the things is that she blocks people who have exposed with their basic, her special, and her passive can all apply exposed. So she's putting out explosives, and that really notifies what's going on with their abilities, right? So we'll just get into these kits, and then we'll break it down ourselves. How does that sound? So. Uh, Generally, you want to start with whenever you're breaking down a kit is going over the passive because the passive dictates pretty much the rest of the team. All right, so on spawn, she's going to uh, fill the speed bar by 200% attack. Okay, so she's gonna fill herself up by 200%. So she's gonna take two turns in a row. She's gonna apply. Um, so putting a controller. Let's see here. It's probably like an Old Man Logan, right? So it's gonna apply exposed on him. I'm trying to think what another great controller. Old Man Logan is the first one that comes to mind. Um, so they can't gain slow. They can only be reduced. Let's see here. Energy spore exposed. So you have to have the full team or none of the above. So this is a so this first one is to block Mephisto or sorry Super Scroll. Oh man, Logan. That's that first passive, right? Blocking speed bar. That's pretty strong. Still in war. Cannot gain stars. So that's the mess up Mephisto. Uh, cannot bury themselves, so that messes up with the mark of Mephisto. Lower assist chance, so that's gonna mess up Old Man Logan, and revive chance to zero, so it's a permit. She has pretty much a permit kill. So that's the same wording that you have with Mephisto, if you're wondering. That's really strong. Her kit's actually kind of crazy. Now it is kind of unfortunate that a lot of this is tied to the four piece. So she comes out first. It's actually not the greatest, and usually in this order, um, this is not official, right? But generally in order, the first person listed on this is going to be the first tune released. They tend to make it in order. I can be totally wrong on that, but that's the tendency. So if she's the first one, we don't get disadvantage. So at least at the start, she's going to have Super Scroll and Oh Man Logan still coming in there and causing her problems. Especially Super Scroll because he doesn't have to worry about getting speed bar with assists. He can just kind of go. Um, and that's with enemies with exposed, so that's kind of nice too. I mean, I can already see right here Gladiator. So her ultimate is 2 for 6, so she's gonna need some energy. Let's see here. Her ultimate is really strong. Let's see here. If she gets to its 5% piercing, applies defense down, heal block, disrupt, trauma, and this attack does double damage to those with safeguard. So that's probably a one shot, like Apocalypse with her with the new stats in the meta. And then she's gonna take a turn immediately after. Really powerful, and can't block it, can't dodge it in war. Her special, clear all barrier, attack 30% drain. Okay, flips basically everything, applies offense down, heal block, 2 turns of bleed to all enemies. Oof. Applies, so there's the exposed to Apocalypse. That's going to shut down Apocalypse. And then she should have this ready on her third turn. So there is some getting around this team. I'll be interested to see if somebody gives energy on spawn. I haven't read the rest of the kits yet. This is the first time I'm looking at it. I'm trying to gain what she is. So on standalone, she is strong, but because she has to open up with her basics, which let's see what her basic forces her to do. She's gonna attack the enemy 5% of the target's max health, so it's kind of like that's very similar to Omega Red. And then the primary target is minion. Shoot, not worried about minions. Flip positive effects, war flip. Okay. Primary target has exposed, apply blind. It's just she's gonna apply. Okay, apply one charge. Prolong the effects of. Okay, so she's gonna apply charge. That's gonna be interesting to see on the rest of the team. So, if she's opening with double basics, there are some like annihilators that will stop this particular kit if this is all that it has. We are going to continue on and see what else is in there. But for her, really powerful, really strong. Definitely needs a battery to keep her going. Um, so we have to definitely be watchful of that. Medusa is the next person on the team. So she is going to be the brawler. So she's probably going to be a damage piercing. A lot of the A4 members are brawlers, so this is not anything new. Let's see what it says about her. Medusa's attacks hit for piercing damage, while her special. She's got perma kills, and her passive um, prevents evades, death proof. Um, so that's gonna knock out like your. This is basically to stop new Avengers. Trying to think who else would spawn with a bunch of evades. Nothing crazy, but let's start with the passive. So passive is what's really gonna mess with this. So her passive. Enemies cannot blame with spawn, or cannot spawn with evade or death proof. It's gonna stop a few teams. Enemies cannot spawn with defense up or speed up. The speed block, stopping speed up on spawn is very, very powerful. Um, Especially with the new meta. Gain 10% speed. So right off the bat, I can see Emma Frost causing this team problems, blocking that speed. Lower resistance by 80%, lower damage. So this does definitely stop your what are those people called? The Undying. So there is a lot of things in here that help stop Undying. Cannot protector blasters enemies cannot spawn with spawn with charge. Protectors, all right, cannot spawn with safeguard. So these are basically um so without spawning. So this is your, and what's his face? Cool, not Gore. This is your annihilator counter. In itself, that this right here, just removing the safeguard is going to make them very useful against the Annihilators team. So now you can flip it with Koyori and then hit the person you really want to put that exposed onto. So that's nice. All right. Let's see here. The ultimate. So she's going to open up with her. I'm going to just read in the order that you would use these abilities in. So her special is an attack all primary targets for 600% piercing, 600% crit chance for this attack if Black Hole is an ally, or if this. So that's nice that she's a sub in. So without the person who's the third person on the team, she can be in this with Black Bolt to just do extra damage. Has the same kind of Black Bolt esque abilities. That's a callback. So all her hits look like they hit stop revives. Black Bolt and Gore have this kind of ability where if they hit you, it can't revive. Blocks defense up. So this is actually very similar to the special of Black Bolt. So that's a nice little call out, nice little fun thing. They probably won't be used together, but it is kind of nice that they did use some of that lore, made her ability similar to Black Bolt for obvious reasons. Let's see here. Her ultimate is attack the primary adjacent target 400% piercing, 10% for each thing, and then it gains and then more cricket. So she's going to be a raider, obviously. She's just big old damage. This attack, yeah. So she's the raider. She's definitely a raider of the team. Build her big. She's gonna be the damage dealer. Utility wise, definitely meant to stop the annihilators. Is the first pre team I can see them blocking. Going this her kit's designed for that. Um, and then to stop Undying. So she helps that defense of stopping Undying. So that's definitely a very important thing because it messes up the turn order for Undying so that they will have some trouble. I'll be interested to see so far. Obviously, we're missing a third person, which go check out Benny Westside's kit because I'm not going to read that till I'm going to watch his video too with y'all and just kind of go over that kit next or later. I'm going to let him have that glory because he just loves that character. Let's go over Ironheart. So let's see what has changed. So she gains a random assist. Special, nothing crazy. So her ability block. Now she opens up with a special. It applies ability block to the primary target, so nothing crazy. It's nice, but nothing that's. Her ultimate's gonna hit really, really hard. Um, yeah, nothing. Her kit's nice. I feel like if it wasn't so, it feels like their kits. Just looking at this, they had to make this because you would immediately drop Ironheart. So be wary. My reading this kit right off the bat. Had they not built that in, where you're forced to use the whole team, you would not be using her. That's just my take. She will do a lot of damage. She's going to be very powerful, but I think there's other plug and play members that would probably help make this team way more dangerous. Um, okay, especially because Wasp has. I can already see right off the bat that her special. Uh, Rewinding by 30% is crazy. So she's going to open up with that. She's going to stun, and then she's going to reduce that person's speed bar by 30%. Can't dodge it, can't block it. So, um, yeah. And then her ultimate is going to hit for an insane amount of damage, and it cannot be blocked, cannot be dodged. So she can be like blocked by like, okay. And then shrink on spawn. Blah, blah, blah. On spawn, gain 3 charges. His attack, lose 1 charge, gain. So she's just gonna be annoying to kill. She is going to be very. That's a decent defensive team tactic. I'm not sure how it'd be on offense. Let's see here. So what do they add to Photon? Uh, all right. So all they did for her was they gave her 30% more damage to secret defenders and max health. So that's going to be strong. There's nothing crazy about this. For Photon, it just seems like they're just trying to make her put her back on the team. In case you want to use that, so Captain Marvel stats, Nico's, they all got this standard 15% health, 30% damage, so they're definitely going to be better. That's just nice that if you've already invested in this team, like I have mine at like 2.8 million, don't have any of them in Crimson, but this is going to help shore up a lot of that fights. Like right now, personally, I've been using A Force on Illuminati pretty consistently, and so this just makes that fight a lot easier, more consistent. Having extra health, extra damage um, is going to make that fight just so much more manageable. And Alpha, I mean, A Force already does very well, so just I think this goal of this is to make this team more viable to the meta. You know, they used to be able to keep up with Orcus. Mine can't keep up with Orcus anymore because I've seen Orcus is in the 5.8 million, 5.2 million, 5.4 million. My P Force, my Photon Force just dies. They can't catch it. I don't use that anymore. I don't use that counter. So this just helps me bridge that gap without having to invest more into this team. So it's just a nice little touch up. Yeah, and make sure to check out Benny Westside's video on the third and final piece of this team, which is going to be Captain Marvel Classic with Kaori and Medusa in rounding out that team. As I said, her kit looks nuts. My biggest issue is that this is a four-man team, or four-woman team. Let me rephrase that. Um, if you're at least on defense. On offense, I think what's going to happen. Well, this team's going to start off on defense as a full team. When you move this team to offense, I think you're going to start dropping Ironheart almost immediately because a lot of the rest of their stuff is just tied to 3. So just be mindful of that when you're investing. That Ironheart's probably the first person you drop because none of their kits after that. Now that is a super scroll counter. There's a few counters to just blocking speed bar, but if you don't need that so far anywhere else, just be mindful of that. If you're not going to put this team on defense, if you're a smaller alliance or you don't, you like playing with your toys, I would be very cautious on building those new reworks because again, I think that you can get the job done without the current older teams. But you may need them if you're going to put this team on defense. You're definitely going to put the whole team on defense. This is a big deal. This really stops a lot of important teams from uh, yeah, I mean, it's just it on defense. This is what keeps Undying from beating it. This is what keeps Super Skull from running amok and just destroying them. Oh man, Logan from destroying them. Right, because without that little block, they're gonna get ran over. But with that, it just stops so many of the meta teams, slows them down, and just the stats are overwhelming. So that is a very powerful mechanic. So be on the lookout on defense that this will be that. So I envision that when this team first is released, you're going to see this team primarily on offense, using the parts that you have, and then with mixing in your A Force members. Actually, uh, I'll wait to the video. I have an idea of who to use with them in war, and it probably isn't the old A Force. Um, I think you can still use your P Force as it is, and then I think you could mix this with a couple other people. For example, Medusa. Definitely, you could put Black Bolt in there, and you would definitely get some value with that extra crit damage. And her speed is not terrible. It's at 120. Um, that it's nice because she doesn't block speed up. So all you need is just a speed tune to make that happen. Okay. But anyway, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know who you think's the best. Make sure to check out Benny Westside's video on the actual Mass Marvel Classic. I'm interested to see that kit. I'm gonna go review that now, see what it looks like. But that will not be in my video. That will be in his because he loves Captain Marvel. And we wanted to give him that Envoy exclusive. Anyway, later, y'all.